major differences. What was the difference between village life and city life that you studied on page number 179 and 180? Do you remember the differences between city life and village life? Can somebody tell me? Yes, Muzaffar, do you remember what were the differences? Muzaffar, yes, can you hear me? What were the differences that we studied? Difference between the city life and the village life.
Yes, sir.
What were the differences that we studied between city life and village life?
सर समझ में नहीं आ रहा क्या बोल रहे हैं आप.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
What were the differences that we studied? Differences between the city life and the village life.
सर सिटी लैब में हमारे पास हर चीज मौजूद होती है. इलेक्ट्रिसिटी हो गई और पानी हो गया. हमें कहीं कुछ करना नहीं पड़ता इन दोनों चीजों के लिए. और
Yes, actually, you know what happens in the city? Basically, you have all the facilities of life. Okay, and as we discussed regarding the various kinds of shops that you have in the city you have the supermarkets available, you have the stores available, you have the pharmacies available, and the other facilities and necessities of life like schools, hospitals, and whatnot. But if you go to a village, in the village you don't have these facilities available. Sometimes the necessities of life are also not available in the village, and so uh, what do people do? They face sometimes they face difficulties, but in this chapter, the diary written by Ghazi Saab, the Ghazi is the diary. He is saying that I miss the village life because the people in the village are carefree. They are simple people. They have beautiful life. They have a very simple life. Though they do not have such facilities that are available in the city, but still they are healthy, they are happy, they are carefree, they are more comfortable, they are enjoying their life in a very simple way without any kind of pollution over there, without any kind of diseases over there. And people, he says that in the last paragraph on page number 179, if you can see, says, our village did not have roads or streets. There were just narrow mud lanes which became very slippery during the rainy season. Commuting from one place to another place was an issue. People did not need cars, buses, or even motorbikes to go from one place to another in the village. They just walked. All this exercise kept them healthy, and in the absence of motor vehicles, kept the environment pollution free. Now, do you understand? He says that though there was a little bit of difficulty in walking all the distance, but because of this walking, because of the daily walk, people were healthy. Because when you walk, you burn your calories, you remain healthy, your blood circulation is good. And in the city, people do not walk so much; they travel in different kind of vehicles. Even if you go to the masjid, you go on a motorcycle, and you do not prefer walking. But that is not the case in the village. In the village, people they walk for long distances as well. So that keeps them healthy. And yes, these were a few things that we have already finished. Okay. After that, they told us that the people, they sit all together. They sit in one place known as Otag, and the women, the meeting place for women is basically the village well where they go and they bring water for their daily usage. All right. So that is what summarizes the difference between the city life and the village life. And now what we are up to, we are basically now on page number 181, where we were discussing the Guddu Barrage. Okay. Can somebody read page number 181? Josefa, can you read page 181?
सर एक सेकेंड मिनट लगता है.
So on page 181 in the first paragraph, they're starting with the very exclamatory sentence, monsoons once again. Now, you see what happens in monsoons. It rains, there's a lot of water everywhere in the village, and that is their basic need. That is very important for them. They cannot live without water. They are very happy. Okay, but in the very next sentence, they say floods everywhere. Because of so much of water around, what happens? The rivers start overflowing and flooding, and all the water comes into the villages, and life becomes very difficult. Sometimes they have to leave the village, they have to uh, shift, take all their bag and baggage, and shift to another place in an urgency. So, this causes a lot of problem. So, your book says, yes, the much needed rain is here. While water is an important need of life, too much of it can cause flooding and devastation because there is a lot of water. So there is a lot of destruction, lot of problems are created. So what happens is they say that in the monsoon season, their requirements and the water requirement is, though it is fulfilled, ठीक है, ज़रूरत तो पूरी हो जाती है, though it is fulfilled, but at the same time they do not have any solution to the problems of flood. Flood problem जो है, सैलाब जो आता है, उसका कोई solution नहीं है. All right, this is the problem they have told us in the very first paragraph. Do you understand this? The author is telling us, the Ghazi Sahib in his diary, he writes that solution to the problem comes in our mind, that if rivers are creating so much of problem, it's better to leave this place and go away from the rivers. Why not live in a safe place? But they are giving the answer to this very question, that people could not leave the rivers because they traveled, the trade routes were there, and they traveled through the rivers, and the water was an important necessity of life. They took all the water from the rivers, and trade route, all the trade was done by boats and ships through the rivers. So they could not leave the place. This was not the solution to this problem. All right. So this is what they are telling us in this paragraph. Now see, in this paragraph, basically, they are in the third paragraph. They are telling us that in order to solve these problems, uh, that they want water, at the same time they want to prevent flooding. This basically, the barrage is the solution. Now look at this. Look at this. I'll explain it afterwards. Just look at this barrage. This is called a barrage. Just look at this. The river is flowing, and here basically, if you can see the mouse, there are gates installed. Okay, and over this, here on top is the road from one end till the other end. This is basically called a barrage. Now I'll explain it to you, inshallah, in the next class. But just have a look at this barrage, how it looks, how it works, and what kind of a structure basically is a barrage. Just have a look at it. It looks so big. It's a big project. Okay, and I think somebody has a question there. You can just have a look at this barrage. All right, I was just trying to put a check on a few security controls there. So look at this. Look at this barrage. It is in the class I showed you 3D video. That was just basically shown, uh, as a small project with one gate only to give you an idea of what a barrage is. But it doesn't have one gate. There are, look at this, from this end here throughout, there are so many gates installed, and the amount of water which flows from here is all controlled by these gates. All right, just have a look at this. Looks so beautiful. bird eye view of the barrage.
सर 64 गेट्स हैं इसके टोटल।
Look at this here. This is, the whole system basically which controls it, and it requires proper service from time to time. Otherwise, the working of the barrage may be disturbed. You understand? So that is basically uh, the Guddu barrage. All right.